Say what needs to be said. It's your boy Sante Samuel back with another episode. And 70 points? And 70 points in one game. And that's a lot of touchdowns, and that's a lot of points being scored. But let's talk about it. Let's get into it. But what an awful performance by the Denver Broncos defense against the Miami Dolphins, giving up 70 points. And that is the worst of it. The Miami Dolphins had the chance to score the most points in an NFL game in the history of the NFL, but chose not to. They chose to take a knee instead. They chose to take a knee instead of kicking the field goal, which would have given them 73 points instead of 70 points and would have made them the team that scored the most points in NFL history. And what is that all about? And that's just mutual respect between coaches, players. You know, it's a thing we have. It's a bond we have. You know, we're not going to try to embarrass you more than you already embarrassed. So we understand it's your job, and we got jobs, we got families and all that stuff to do. So we don't want to see the media putting out more reports and embarrassment on you. So we're going to take it easy and not kick the field goal. And that's what happened. But one thing you have to do as a player when you take the field is you have to take the field with a lot of pride, dignity about yourself. You got to take that field and say, listen, I'm not going to be embarrassed out here. I'm going to compete to the very end, and I'm going to do my job at the highest level. But I can't say that was the case for the Denver Broncos defense against the Miami Dolphins. I didn't see a prideful team out there. I didn't see them willing to do whatever it took to be successful against the Miami Dolphins. The things that I saw, what are the bad things that I saw on defense? I saw a lack of communication, a lot of breakdowns in defense where men and receivers are just open because everybody's not on the same page on the back end, right? So a lack of communication and people not being on the same team, same page, particularly the DBs. And I don't see a dominant force in the front seven, the front four, front five, front seven, whatever you want to call it. I don't see an offensive lineman that you can just run the ball behind and dominate. I didn't see that. I don't see a defensive lineman that just stops the running, just destroy or be destructive in the front seven. You know, I don't see that from the Denver Broncos, right? They have a lot of issues and things that they have to work on. But in 1966, the New York Giants gave up 72 points against the Washington Redskins, commonly known as the Commanders right now. And that is the most points in the history of the NFL at this moment right now. 72 points. So the Denver Broncos are right behind them, and they got to wear that on their jacket that they're the second team that gave the most points in the NFL history. So they got to wear that jacket. That's on them for life. The new coach, Russell Wilson, Sean Payton, that's on y'all. So y'all got to live with that. Now, Monday morning comes and you got team meetings, you got position coach meetings, you got all these meetings. And it's going to be a lot of tension in the facilities. The coach is going to be hot, the owner going to be upset, the GM going to be upset, and it's going to be a trickle-down effect. But what's important is I think the coaches can't go in there just blaming everything on the players. The coaches got to come into the facilities and put the blame on themselves also as along with the players to show accountability, to show that I'm in this thing with you and we're going to figure this out together and we're in this together to the end. And that's how you deal with adversity in the NFL. You show that you're down with this together and we're going to fight together. And that's how you build a bond and become successful. So that's what we're hoping to see, because after giving up 70 points, it can do a lot to your morale. It can have you down and out. But you know, everyone is to blame for that, from the GM, the owner, the cooks. You know, that's how it is when you lose. Everybody's the security. Everybody has to do their job right. And that's the attitude you have to take moving forward. Because if you don't take that attitude, you will get the same results time after time. And that, I'm telling you, in the NFL is not fun at all. Being on a losing team, losing miserably, when people setting records against us or against your team is one of the most awful feelings you can possibly have. But let me read off some stats for you, because this thing was crazy, right? Tua, he had over 300 yards passing. Tyreek Hill had over 150 yards receiving. Devon, the running back, 18 carries for 203 yards with 2 touchdowns. They basically had over 300 yards rushing between 3 running backs. And now, with me doing my research before I come before you and recording this film, as I'm doing my research, Currently, the Denver Broncos officially gave up the most yards by a defense in a single game with 726 yards. The New York Yanks previously gave up the most yards in 1951 in a single game with 722 yards. The Denver Broncos defense had a chance to give up the most points in a single game and gave up the most yards in a single game. Man, let that sink in. That when you get back in the facilities Monday, they have a lot to talk about. They have a lot to think about. Changes going to be made. People probably going to not be there no more. Coaches might get fired, but that's how it goes in the NFL, especially when you come off an embarrassing game like that. Changes has to be made. But, man, the Miami Dolphins is an explosive team. They're fast. They're quick. They're very explosive. So, I mean, if anybody's going to score 70 points, it's going to be Miami Dolphins. I don't think this is going to be the last time that they score 70-plus points anyway. So, you heard it from here. Say what needs to be said first, and we're going to move right on.